Okay, this is the production possibilities curve, and it's hypothetical, right? Because it says a nation that produces baseball mitts and soccer balls. That's the only thing they produce, and of course that's silly. That's not. But just for demonstration purposes, it makes it easier just to have two different goods. Okay. So the following table shows the possible combinations of two products. So they can produce 30 soccer balls, or well, and if they produce 30 soccer balls, they produce zero mitts, right? Or another way you can look at it is they can produce 30 soccer balls, or they can produce eight in millions, right? 30 million and 8 million uh, baseball mitts, or some combination in between. So all the resources that they use to produce these things, they have to share, right? And so if they're using all of their resources for soccer balls, then they'll produce 30 soccer balls, and then they won't have any resources left over for mitts. And if they use all their resources for mitts, then they won't have any resources left over for soccer balls. So if they, take some resources, so if they take away some resources from the soccer balls, if we go this way, right, to produce some baseball mitts, um, then they'll have to give up, right? They won't be able to produce as many soccer balls if they give up some resources for that production, right? They take people away, machines away, whatever, right? Okay. So the opportunity cost of the first 2 million, okay, baseball mitts is what in soccer balls? Well, if I produce 2 million baseball mitts, that means that I can only produce 24 million soccer balls. So in terms of soccer balls, how many soccer balls am I giving up to produce these 2 million? Well, I went from 30 to 24. So I'm giving up 6 million soccer balls. Okay. Now, let's see. And the opportunity cost of the third 2 million mitts is what? So the third 2 million mitts goes from 4 to 6, right? The third 2 million. So this is the first 2 million, this is the second 2 million, this is the third 2 million. So this is a little bit confusing way to ask the question too. So that might have thrown you a little bit as well. Okay. So from 4 to 6, that's the third 2 million. Well, I'm giving up 8 million soccer balls, right? Because I go from 18 million to 10 down to 10. So I have to give up 8 million soccer balls to go from 4 to 6, or the third 2 million in the mitts. Okay, so that would be 8 there. And they will switch this on you. Even I think I've done this a couple of times, even with your link. I think it sometimes switches some of the numbers. So sometimes it'll ask you what's the second 2 million and what's the fourth 2 million, or what are the last 2 million. Okay, so your version may be a little bit different, but just pay attention to what exactly they're asking you. Okay, and then so that solves that first part. And then the second part is the same for all of them, in the sense that it says that the technology for producing baseball mitts improves. Okay, so meaning fewer resources are needed for each baseball mitt. So that means I can produce more baseball mitts with every resource that I apply to it, right? So I'm going to be able to produce more than my than this curve here. So for example, if I go from 30 to 24, if I've got $6 million or 6 million soccer balls worth of resources, for lack of a better way to explain that, right? If the resources I'm using, I that takes away that 6 million in soccer balls I apply to the baseball ones. Well, it's going to give me more than 2 million now, because before it gave me 2 million, but now the technology is improved. And so it's going to produce me some more. We don't know. It doesn't tell you how much more, right? We just know it's more. So you can't do an exact curve, but they want you to do a relative curve, okay? And the only exact, though, there is one exact point you can put on this curve, on this new curve though, and that is that where it starts at 30 soccer balls, right? Because zero mitts. Well, nothing has changed for the soccer ball production, right? Soccer production and resources are the same, right? So if I don't produce any mitts, nothing has changed. So I'm gonna start here at the 30. So I'll get my drawing out here. And so at zero mitts, I'm still going to have 30 soccer balls. But when I start applying taking away some resources from the soccer balls and applying those to baseball mitts, then I'm going to produce more than I did before. And again, it doesn't tell you how much more, right? It just says that you can, fewer resources are needed for each baseball mitt. Okay. So I can produce more mitts than I used to. So anywhere out here, it's going to count it correct, right? So you could do pretty much anything out here in the for the curve. And it, like I said, it's just trying to get you a general feel for how that production possibilities would change. Okay. And again, it doesn't tell you the magnitude, so it's just a general thing here. You don't have any specific numbers except for where it starts, again, because of that 30 and 0. The idea that the increased technology didn't change anything about the soccer balls. Okay, but it did increase the mitts. Okay, so that would be your second production possibilities curve, and that would be the end of the question, I believe. So hopefully that helps. Again, a lot of people, I think, get confused with this question just because of the way it's set up and the way it's asked. Sometimes it says the first or the third or the last or the second million or whatever it is. So you just have to look at, I'm going from one to the next, right? And what's the change? What am I giving up? And this whole thing is about opportunity cost, right? It's to help you understand the idea of opportunity cost. And so, like I said, that first 2 million baseball mitts, I'm giving up 6 million soccer balls to get to that 2 million baseball mitts, right? Because I don't have enough resources. I have to take some resources away from my soccer ball production and put them towards baseball mitt production. So hopefully that helps. If it doesn't, send me an email and we can talk about it in a different way.